Hi and welcome to this tutorial on reading data into R. So for this video we're going to focus on reading in Excel files as they're probably the most common format you'll use, but the process is applicable to different file types. The syntax is just slightly different. All the code used in this video, as well as that for reading in other file types, is available on the linked web page. So the first thing we have to do is to tell R where the data is, and we do this by setting the working directory, which is just the folder that contains the data. If this is the first time you've written a file path before, it can be useful to take a quick look at the File Explorer. The first thing to note is what drive your data is on, so I know mine is on drive D. Then we need to know the series of folders you have to navigate through to get to the data. When we know this, we can enter it into R. The commands we use to set the working directory is set wd, followed by open brackets, open speech marks. Then we put in the drive, followed by a colon and a forward slash. Then we enter the series of folder names separated by forward slashes. A neat trick here is to use the tab button, which will bring up a list of folders for you to select from, rather than having to type it all out. When we're done, we can run the code. And at any point, we can check what working directory we're in by going to the console and using get wd, open brackets, close brackets. And from this, we can see that our code has worked. An alternative to this is to set the working directory through the menu. And to do this, we use session, set working directory, choose directory. And from here, we can select a folder. The only problem with this is that if you were to rerun your script, you would have to do this every time, whereas you only have to type out set wd once. I'll just cancel this. Now we're going to turn our attention to the Excel file. So R doesn't read in Excel files directly. We have to change the file type. The easiest way to do this is to save the file as a comma delimited or CSV file. And to do this, we go to Save As, and I'll keep it in the same folder. Then we go to Save As Type, and we select CSV, comma delimited. Then we can save this file and close it, ready to read into R. I've already got this saved, so I'm just going to click Cancel. Now we need an object name, and I'm going to call our data frame TF, and we're going to assign it some value. Then we use the command read.csv, open brackets, open speech marks, and now we're just going to type in the file name. So mine is data_read.csv. After this, we pop a comma. And now we have to tell R if our file has column names, and if it does, we use header equals true. Obviously, if it doesn't, we just use false. Another option here is to skip lines. So if, for example, we have some notes in the first row which aren't part of the data frame, we can use skip equals 1. That's not the case here, so I'm just going to remove that. Now we can close our brackets and run the code. And to see what it looks like, we can go into the console and just print it out. If we had a bigger data set here, it might be more useful to use head, open brackets, df. And this just prints out the first few lines of the data frame. Alternatively, if you wanted to see the bottom few lines, we can just use tail. So two more options we can use to read CSVs are that we can put the working directory path before the file name. So this means that we don't need to use the setwd code. And it's useful if we're only reading in one file from a folder. And as you can see, it just reads in the same way. Another option is if I just delete this, we can use file.choose followed by open bracket, close bracket. And when I run this, it'll open a window. And then we can just select the file from here. This saves on typing in the short term, but again, you don't have a record of what data was used in the future. So now you know how to load data into R. Check out my other tutorials and thanks for watching.